What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Now kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. Those South Carolina Gamecocks continue to roll on, baby, picking up the big 70-56 win over Georgia with College Gameday in the house, as well as WNBA champion Kelsey Plum in the house as well, promoting her new camp to get guards from college more prepared to enter the WNBA. Big stuff there. On top of that, after the game, Coach Staley spoke on a statue that is being honored in her name, her image, her likeness, that's coming to fruition after she's just done so much for this program, y'all. That's what happens when you win rings. That's what happens when you win titles. She spoke on the statue that's, being unveiled very soon, and it was heartfelt, man. Some big moments. It gives me the feeling, I already felt like this, but she is not leaving South Carolina, y'all. She is going to retire in Columbia. Book it. I'm saying it now. But before we get into all that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. And join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So we mentioned this was a big game for South Carolina. It was kind of expected to be a blowout, at least from my understanding. That's what I was expecting, to be honest with y'all. Georgia came in with only 2 SEC wins. We weren't really expecting them to give South Carolina a fight, but those Bulldogs absolutely put on a show as well and put up a heck of a fight. So I got to salute to them. Georgia did their thing, man, on the big stage. College Gameday in the house. Kelsey Plum, the stars were out, and you're facing the #1 team in the country. So the first quarter was smooth for both squads. It was 17-17, just matching punch for punch, blow for blow. I think Georgia, the bigs, they came out and really set the tone, getting Ashlyn Watkins in foul trouble, being aggressive on the boards, following those second-hand shots, and just creating more possessions for their group. In the second quarter now, Georgia really got it going and held South Carolina to 11 points, man. Georgia was getting busy in the paint. Like we mentioned earlier, that continued. They started hitting some threes as well, and they just had the South Carolina defense stagnant with that zone. South Carolina wasn't making three-pointers in the first half, and when shots aren't falling and you're not able to penetrate that zone, you're in for a long night. But typically how they do, South Carolina has been down at home and going into the half before. They've been here. They're battle-tested. This was the biggest deficit, though, that they faced in SEC play. They come out, and how do they respond? They hold Georgia to just 9 points and outscore them 22-9 in the third quarter to really take control of this game. And in the fourth quarter, much of the same, scoring 20 points and holding Georgia to 12 points. I just got to say, though, Javen Nichols was doing her thing, 27-12 for Georgia, and she was giving Chloe Kitts the business. We got to be honest here. We just got to keep it 100 with y'all, man. She was giving Kitts the business. They make the move and put Cardoso on her, and it was pretty much lights out for the second half. You know what I'm saying? Georgia was getting forced into tough shots. South Carolina did well pressuring the ball, causing turnovers, and really getting this team out of the rhythm that they established in the first half. Looking at the breakdown, South Carolina outshot Georgia 43.9 to 37.5. They shot 9 of 27 for 3. They were chucking. It was not the best three-point shooting showcase, but Tahina Powell hit 2 threes back-to-back to really blow this game open and give South Carolina the double-digit lead. So they made the threes when they needed them most. They also won that rebounding battle, battling on the glass, 38-30. Plus 8 margin on the glass. They also had 7 blocks and forced 18 turnovers. They also had 18 turnovers from themselves, and that was mostly in the first half. But yeah, it was an ugly game to start. South Carolina has had some slow starts we've seen, but they ended up picking it up, and I saw this tweet, man, right here that really caught my attention. And it's from this guy, Bradville, who says, talk about an embarrassing start. Has this team gotten worse since Cardoso rejoined the team? Since the UConn game, no offense or defense at all. Sheesh. Cardoso finishes with 16 points and 16 rebounds. I thought that statement about the team getting worse since she's been back is absolutely ridiculous. She continues to be the focal point on both sides of the ball, and she was the reason as soon as she was taken out of the game, they're kind of monitoring her minutes just because she had that run with Brazil and the national team trying to help them qualify for the Olympics. So she's, still recovering from that jet lag, reports are saying. So she's getting her minutes monitored a bit, but when she came out of that game, that's when Georgia really turned up and went on a run and pulled away a bit from South Carolina. And then when she came back in, all was restored. 16 tough points, down low, 16 rebounds. She could have had 20 easy, man. She left a couple bunnies at the rim, but Cardoso continues to just dominate on both sides of the basketball. She's a willing passer as well, 5 assists. When those double teams do come, she gets it out and hits her teammates in stride. One of the recipients of a few of those assists was Chloe Kitts. Kitts finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. And she had a big third quarter, man. After struggling a bit in the first half, she had a big third quarter to really elevate this team. Between her and Malaysia Fulwiley, they really provided a spark for South Carolina in the second half. And we mentioned Tahina Powell, 15 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. She was pretty active the whole game. She has a tendency to go quiet sometimes, but that doesn't mean she's still not impacting the game. And she had 2 big three-pointers to really put this one out of reach. Raven Johnson continues to be the glue player for this group. 9 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. We talked about Fulwiley. She came off the bench, had 4 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. The most exciting player in the nation, man. I'm going to just go out here and say it. The way that she impacts games. I mean, did y'all see that spin move? And then she just dropped it off to Ashlyn Watkins for the floater? That was crazy. And it's not like she's flashy for no reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is part of her game. It's not unnecessary. She does it because it's effective. And also, she got a big endorsement, a big new NIL deal that people have been talking about as well. So, shout out Malaysia Fulwiley getting the Mr. Seafood endorsement. Getting the deal with the seafood company. You know what I'm saying? And that's big. If you're from South Carolina, you already know. If you know people from South Carolina, they don't play about that seafood. So that's major. Seeing the freshmen get some recognition, you know what I'm saying, off the court. People are noticing her talent and want her to represent their brands. So I think that was awesome, man. But she's still getting it done on the court, providing a serious spark for this team. Ashlyn Watkins had a really quiet game today, but she also got in foul trouble, we mentioned. But she finished with 3 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds in just 15 minutes of play. We saw Chloe Kitts be the more effective player at that 4 spot today. So, Coach Don Staley's going to ride the hot hand. Bree Hall finished with 9 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, and played good defense as well like she typically does. These guards really, really, really turned it up during the second half, man, forcing all types of turnovers, stealing the basketball, tying it up, forcing that possession arrow into their favor. I just think that the post play, though, was superb. It took a little while to get going, but once Cardoso and Kitts got going, it was no looking back, man. And just their persistence, their consistency on the glass, the resiliency. They got outplayed in the first half, and they didn't let that deter them from coming out in the second half and leaving their handprints all over this contest. But we see this with South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? We know they're going to take everybody's best punch, and they continue to pass every test this year, moving to 25-0. Free throw shooting continues to be like the biggest glaring weakness we're seeing so far. But other than that, man, like they've had some slow starts, but that second half, if you can't compete in that second half and hit that second win, because South Carolina, we're seeing, has a gear that no other team in the nation has. That second half, I don't know what happens in that locker room, but they come out and completely just dominate teams. And we saw that today with Georgia. Shout out to the Bulldogs, you know what I'm saying? Proving they're not just a doormat of the SEC, that they can play with anybody when they bring their A game. South Carolina just had too much firepower. I think it was dope, too, that Kelsey Plum was in the house. That was cool just seeing her. You know, we just saw her at All-Star Weekend. She makes the trip as an Under Armour athlete at an Under Armour school like South Carolina, and kind of talked about how she's going to have some of the South Carolina players at her camp to help prepare these guards for the next level, man. So, you know, you think of Malaysia Foot Wiley, Tessa Johnson, you know, Raven Johnson, these guards working with a pro, getting those resources and accelerating their development. That's very exciting. And, you know, Kelsey Plum, shout out to her, because she's providing opportunities to players that weren't there when she was, you know, she's providing opportunities that weren't there for her when she was a player in college, and now, you know, she's passing that baton down. We saw her support of Caitlin Clark, too, when she broke that record. So, shout out to her giving back to the game. We see guys like Chris Paul has a really successful guard skills camp where college and high school, the top guards in the nation come, and he's helped shape a lot of point guards coming into the NBA. So now we see Kelsey Plum doing that same exact thing. So I thought that was really cool. And she was in the house, and she left Asia Wilson behind. Asia said, "How the hell you leave me?" At Kelsey Plum 10. Pulled up to the homie's alma mater, the house that Asia helped build, and left her out there in snowy Indy. Oh, that's hilarious, man. Kelsey Plum just pulled up, man. You know, Asia Wilson's been doing a whole lot of things with the book, with the TV show. She got a lot going on. Kelsey Plum made the trip out there and left her girl Asia back where she was. You know what I'm saying, at All-Star Weekend. So that's funny, man. Love their relationship as well. But yeah, and speaking of the house being built, Coach Dawn Staley getting a statue. She has completely turned around this program at South Carolina and made them a desired destination, made them the cream of the crop, the standard in women's college basketball right now. And she's getting rewarded with a statue, man. 2 national championships already. And it looks like another one's on the horizon. But it was dope to see her kind of comment and talk about what the statue and what the program means to her.
We're having a bronze statue that is going to be put up right now. I know you did not ask for this statue. Look at that. Coach, here's some photos of the renderings right now. But Coach, this statue is going to go across from the South Carolina State House, where a Confederate flag flew for almost 5 decades before it was removed. Just the significance and impact of a black woman being there.
I mean, it takes me back. I wanted Asia Wilson to be the only USC athlete to be bestowed that honor. I mean, it's bigger than basketball. Obviously, it's something that the city of Columbia wanted. It wasn't anything that I politicked for. They wanted to bring it. They wanted to represent our city's diverse, our state's diverse, and it's awesome because not very many women, let alone black women, get bestowed in this honor. Now we have 2 places in which you can come.
Yes.
To the city of Columbia and see 2. And all through playing basketball, all through the round ball of playing basketball. So I think it's incredibly, an incredible honor that I probably don't know its significance as we sit here today. But my mom would be proud as a South Carolinian. Yes. She would be super proud.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Well-deserved. Historic moment. Historic moment coming after a big win on College Game Day, national TV. The celebs is in the building. South Carolina moves to 25-0 and keeps rolling, staying number 1 in the SEC, man. Big-time game, big-time vibes, and we just see it. The well-balanced, oiled machine that Dawn Staley has unleashed. It doesn't matter who's having a bad game. Anybody can make a play, and this is just a team. This is just a really good basketball team with a lot of good individual players. When you've got talent on a great team and you're bringing the best out of that talent, that's dangerous, man. I'm telling you. South Carolina only has 4 more games remaining in the regular season. None of these teams ranked. A good chance to go undefeated and finish the regular season strong, man. They're going to be the favorite in every contest. They got a big matchup with Tennessee, who, is fighting for their tournament lives. They got to go see Talia Scott in Arkansas. Alabama, Kentucky on the menu as well for them. So we'll see. We'll see if they finish strong. But we know for one thing, they're going to continue to get every team's best punch night in and night out. But they passed another test. They're battle-tested. They're poised. They believe in each other. They never get rattled. No matter if this team trails, no matter what happens in the game, this group never gets rattled. And that's so surprising for such a young team. And you just got to shout out these vets like Tahina Powell and Camila Cardoso, who are still steering the ship. Cardoso fresh off international play, coming in, dominating, continuing to lead this team in scoring, continuing to be that defensive anchor. And we just got to shout out her playmaking ability, man. The passing skills we cannot ignore. She is a really good passer out of the post, great court vision. And, South Carolina, you're going to have to play 4 quarters to beat them. You're not going to beat them in 2 quarters. You're not going to beat them in 3 quarters. You're not going to beat them in 3.5 quarters. You got to play 4 complete full quarters of basketball to compete with this team and try to knock them off. We saw the top 16 teams for the seeding of the NCAA tournament, their first edition, get released. Of course, South Carolina, the number 1 overall seed, all hands on deck. Odds are in favor to win this national championship this year. However you want to put it. But they win another one. College Game Day, Kelsey Plum, Don Staley getting a statue, y'all. This was for the culture, baby. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about everything, man. Holler at your boy in the comments. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV, your host. This is Live with Brandon Blakeney. Until next time, hey, we out.